Today on Bucko Banter, we discuss the state of the offseason and potential moves for the Pirates moving forward. You're listening to the Bucko Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, send in case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Adam, welcome back to another episode of Bucko Banner. I'm glad you can't see too much behind me because I'm in the process of moving. This is actually going to be my last episode of Bucko Banner in my downtown apartment. But good news is that I'm going to be your neighbor.
You are going to be my neighbor. I am so excited. We're still not going to record in person. For the most part, we're just going to be doing the same old thing. We got to set up. Why not? Don't mess with it, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. But man, a historic run, 77 episodes in that chair, in that room.
Yeah.
Give yourself a pat on the back, man. That's historic. There you go.
There we go. But I'm excited for the Strip District. I thought we'd start the episode off with something positive because there's not a lot to talk about in the Pirates world. And I'm really excited to be in the Strip. And as I know, you've loved it there for the past 2 years. So
biased, best neighborhood in Pittsburgh.
Easily.
We could walk downtown. We could walk to the stadium. I know your walk was extremely short before.
Ridiculous.
I was always trailing behind, but it's a nice scenic walk down the Riverwalk.
Yep.
At night, it changes a little bit on the way back. You might want to take the main roads, but you got the river, the bridges. Takes 15 minutes, man. It's great. You could walk pretty much any business down here, get whatever you need.
Got to get those steps in.
Yeah, get the steps in. I'm excited to have you down here. We're gonna start working out, right? That's the New Year's resolution this year.
Hell yeah, we'll probably go at it for a month. No, I'm just kidding. We'll stick to it. But
I need the extra motivation, man.
Yeah,
it's been rough to get myself in the gym between work and this and just life. I need someone to whip me back into shape. So
same.
A lot of good stuff to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Which transitions us into talking about the Pirates. Because there hasn't been a lot of good stuff happening in the offseason outside of the Spencer Horwitz trade. And that's still up in the air of whether or not that's good or bad, right? I think we've kind of just settled for we'll see. But now I think people are starting to get a little frustrated. If they were frustrated before, they're downright pissed right now. Because you see these trades happening and a lot of people are not giving up a lot for good players. And we're going to get into all the moves that have recently happened and kind of reflecting on the Horwitz trade to see if the Pirates won or lost, or they gave up too much, or they gave up too little, or just the right amount. But it's hard to think they're doing everything that they can, even within their budget, because of the signings that have taken place recently.
Yeah, man, it's a head scratcher because Spencer Horwitz, while his numbers have been good while he's up, he's still, I would consider, unproven. You know, he doesn't have the tenure that a Josh Naylor has, that a Nathaniel Lowe had, that a Christian Walker has, right? So they paid a steeper price for him. Basically, it seems like because of the years of control. They're getting him for cheap, but they have him till 2031. And these other guys might have had 2 years of control versus 5. But they're getting traded for relief pitchers, like straight up trades. It's pretty crazy to see that how some of these guys are the return on some of these guys. And I do want to say this too. It feels like, I don't know what your opinion is on this though, but I think the salary due or the projected salary for these guys too, like a Naylor or a Lowe, scared off the Pirates, which is crazy to me because like 10 to 12, 13 million should not be a lot when you have Paul Skeens on your team. Like you need to go all in.
It's been made very clear that it's about years of control, and that's it. It does not matter about pedigree. It does not matter about years of experience, what they've done at the big league level. It's a matter of how long are they going to be on this team for. And that kind of coincides with the league minimum, right? Yep. Of paying a guy $700K a year to stay here for 5 years and then trade him off before he gets to arbitration or a big contract, right? So again, you look at Naylor. I get it because the Pirates are not going to make a move unless it's a deadline move where they're really making a push. Like historically, we haven't seen that where they go after a guy with a year left before he hits free agency. So the Naylor thing, I get. The return for him, extremely low. Extremely low. Slade Sessione and a competitive Ciccone? Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter. And a competitive balance pick.
Yeah.
Naylor has been.
I mean, that competitive balance pick is going to be decent. And Ciccone was a pretty good prospect coming out of Miami. Who knows? Cleveland might be able to get something out of him. But still, we gave up more. Cleveland got more in return for Horwitz than they did for Josh Naylor.
But I'm looking at it on Arizona's side, right? They're a great offensive team. They have been for the past couple of years. They made a World Series. They just lost Christian Walker to the Astros. 3 years, $60 million. I know his name was floated for the Pirates. Wasn't happening. It was kind of predictable what he was going to get. 3 years, $20 million a year.
360 was the floated number the whole time.
And he got it. And he got it on a good team. But immediately they go out and find a replacement. Guess why? Because they want to win right now. And they've shifted their mindset into, okay, we've established this base of very good young talent on our team. And now we're going to go out and complement that with free agents. How we've talked about the Pirates, what they should do in the past, i.e. Jordan Montgomery. Granted, I know he didn't have a good year. Now you add Josh Naylor to the mix. You're adding proven elements to an already successful formula.
Yeah. You're building around a Corbin Carroll, around a Zach Gallen, around guys like that. And they have more coming. Like Jordan Lawler's coming up. Like they have a ton of guys, especially in that outfield. So I commend a team like Arizona. I also commend Cleveland because although I don't really get this, they also signed a little teaser, Carlos Santana. They signed him for 1 year, $12 million.
I don't
12 and a half. I don't get it at all because they have Kyle Manzardo coming up. He's a top first base prospect. Figured that's the reason why they wanted to move Naylor. So why we paid what 3.5 for Santana? If that,
I think 5? It was 3.5, 5 around that.
Yeah, but like $12 million for Santana. While I don't agree with it and I don't get it, Cleveland spent $12 million for a year on one player. Why can't the Pirates do that?
Here's where it gets more confusing. Because prior to today, December 22nd, 2024, the Nathaniel Lowe trade did not happen. We're just basing this off the Horwitz trade. And we're justifying it by look at the starting pitching market. You're looking at any little way you can say, hey, maybe the Pirates didn't screw this up. And these pitchers are getting crazy contracts right now. We need to bring in bats. And the way we do that is deal from depth. Right? So that's what they did. You can't be that mad. But then you look at what the Nationals sent over for a World Series Silver Slugger.
That's crazy.
Nathaniel Lowe with years of control.
2, right?
2 years of control before he hits free agency in 27. He's making what, $10.5 million per year?
Yeah.
But they sent over a left-handed reliever with a 4.22 ERA.
Crazy.
For a proven bat. And what's more insulting is that first base has been a position of need forever. Almost our entire lifetime, give or take 2 or 3 years. And this is somewhere where you could have had 2 years of a proven guy, of someone who can play the position at a big league level, who has done it before at the highest degree. I believe it was Noah who came on the show and said, you need guys that have been there before.
100%, man. And even this past year, Nathaniel Lowe had a down offensive year, and that was batting .265. Like he is a bat to ball guy, but he also provides some power too. He can get you 20 plus home runs, and left-handed bat at PNC Park. It just made way too much sense. And I don't care if it's 2 years, 3 years, anything over a year. Like I think I would have preferred Nathaniel Lowe over Josh Naylor based off the bat and the defense. And the years of control, if we're talking about control, it made a lot of sense for the Pirates to go after a guy like that. And we were a trading partner with the Rangers. They're looking for pitching. They're looking for bullpen depth. We have some guys that we could deal. I wouldn't give up a Nicholas or a Majinski, but like it didn't take that caliber of a reliever to get Nathaniel in the first place. So frustrating, man, very frustrating. And I think it puts an unnecessary amount of pressure on this Spencer Horwitz thing to work out.
Oh, an insane amount.
Yeah.
An insane amount. There's still a lot of offseason left. I want to stay positive. I want to say like, hey, maybe this is the year that they give out the biggest free agent contract since Francisco Liriano, 3 years, $39 million. That's like
laughable.
That's a number stuck in Pirates fans' head for the rest of our lives until it's broken, right? That's like our D-Day. like it's something that we can't forget because it's the biggest contract or free agent contract that they've given out. And it worked for the most part, but it was Francisco Liriano. And at a time where you need to capitalize, they're just not doing it, or they're waiting, as Noah put it, for the lions to eat, then the hyenas come in and take the scraps. That's what it is, because you get these minor league signings, you get guys with maybe a year of experience that barely put up any numbers. I'm not even talking about Horwitz at this point, right? It's frustrating. I mean, later on in the episode, we're going to go through some unrealistic moves and some realistic moves that we think could work for the Pirates, but I understand the frustration because it seems like every other GM in the league is able to coordinate these moves with other teams, and the Pirates simply cannot or just will not pay somebody generally. Because let's look at the starting lineup right now. You're paying Brian Reynolds, you're paying Ke'Bryan Hayes, you're paying Mitch Keller.
What's the combined WAR of those three guys? I don't think it's more than 5 or 6.
Right. Key has a positive WAR solely because of the defense.
Yeah.
You're paying 3 guys. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so.
No, that's it.
So you're paying 3 guys on your roster, and we've been convinced that things are changing because they've given these extended contracts to homegrown or somewhat homegrown players. Yeah, Reynolds is not homegrown. Mitch Keller is homegrown. Ke'Bryan Hayes is homegrown.
I do want to jump in real quick and say, like, given if they're going to operate like this, and like you said, there's more offseason left, but like a good chunk of it has happened already. If they're going to continue to operate like this, I would have rather have traded Brian Reynolds last year, 2 years ago, during the deadline. I would have gotten something for him. Seriously, like he's 31, right? 30, 31. Like,
yeah.
And he is the guy that you're paying to be your premier bat, but you could have gotten something for him, and they're not adding offensively. Now that could change in the next month or two, but I'm just saying, like, if that's going to be your premier bat, then what are we doing here?
If I look at this in NFL terms, right? Teams generally that have a successful rookie quarterback then capitalize in other places.
Okay.
The 49ers, they have Brock Purdy. Whether or not he's a great quarterback, who knows? But he's been successful so far, or able to lead them to a decent team. They build around that. They spend money around that. They extend guys around that because they have to pay him almost nothing right now. Mm-hmm. You have a similar situation here. You're paying a majority of the team nothing in the grand scheme of things. Absolutely nothing. Capitalize on your Paul Skeens. Capitalize on an O'Neal Cruz breakout that's eventually going to come, that we've seen progress over the past couple of years. Capitalize on a very team-friendly Brian Reynolds contract. Capitalize on a very team-friendly Mitch Keller contract. Capitalize on a Jared Jones breakout, a Bubba Chandler coming up through the system next year. You're not paying anybody anything, so it's hard to say like, hey, we're just waiting for the right fit when it's been proven that you only care about not paying anybody.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating as hell, but I don't see it changing. I hope they prove me wrong here over the holiday and into 2025. There's still some trades to be had, and I guess that's where we can kind of segue, right? Like there are a lot of moves that have happened around the league. So I don't know if we want to get a quick rundown of those.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll start it off.
Yep.
Cody Bellinger, the worst kept secret in all of baseball. The Cubs have been trying to move off of his contract ever since they signed him, pretty much. Goes to the Yankees. The Yankees are having quite the offseason after they lost out on the Juan Soto sweepstakes. The Yankees received $5 million to offset the contract, which has 2 years and $52.5 million remaining. And the Cubs receive Cody Petit.
Yeah. Again, like change-up driven reliever. That's it.
It's absolutely incredible. And then Max Kepler, which has been a name brought up on this podcast for a potential fit in the outfield, has signed for 1 year, $10 million with the Phillies, right?
Yeah.
So he hit 253, 8 home runs, 42 RBIs, 93 hits last year.
Were you surprised by that? Were you surprised by that?
Well, the Phillies I think they need outfield help. I think they've been talking about unloading on guys like Castellanos, maybe for the right fit. Or
I absolutely would. I would go. I think Luis Robert makes way too much sense for Philadelphia.
Right. They need to try something different because they're not scared to spend money, but this might be like a good, like happy medium for them, right?
Yeah.
It's not like your
Provides
Bryce Harper contract where you're paying a guy $100 million plus or $300 million plus, whatever the hell it may be. But yeah, you get good defense and a fairly consistent bat. So there's another option when we're talking about outfield. I know we focus mostly on first base because that's what the offseason has brought to us recently, but outfield is still a position of need, corner outfielders, and almost every single realistic option that we have talked about on this podcast has been signed. Every single one.
I will, 100%. I will say that I wasn't overly in love with the outfield free agent market to begin with, and my favorite out of all of them was Tyler O'Neill. I don't think the answer is in the free agent market for the outfield. I'm just gonna put it there.
I don't think it's the answer generally for the Pirates. If we're talking just how they operate.
You mean free agency or
right? Yeah,
free agency.
100%. They'd rather make a trade again for a guy with control rather than giving out a quote unquote historic contract in Pirates terms.
Because if you look at the remaining free agent outfielders, here are the guys that are probably unsignable by the Pirates: Teoscar Hernandez, Jurickson Profar, Anthony Santander, right?
Right.
But then you have Jock Peterson, who won't come to the Pirates. Randall Grichuk, I've heard maybe, like, and that's like cool, unsexy. He strikes out a lot. Like, it wouldn't be much different. Would be an upgrade defensively. Harrison Bader, I feel like he's just like center field only. Like, I don't know how that helps. Jesse Winker, better bat for sure. He definitely is not very good defensively. Mark Canha, Ramon Laureano, Jason Hayward, Alex Verdugo. Like, none of those names are sexy to me. Like the realistic names.
Jason Hayward's bound to be a Pirate on a 1 year, $5 million deal.
I honestly would take him out of that group of names.
Sure. I mean, you're adding a veteran presence, a guy who has been there before, but he's barely a one more player.
Yeah.
He's 35 going on 36. It's rough. Again, I don't think it's free agency that's going to get us there. The names that stick out that I think they would give like a 1 year contract to once spring training rolls around, if these guys aren't signed, and Alex Verdugo, I could see them.
Oh, don't get me started.
I see the eye roll for the listeners. I don't want Alex Verdugo, but that seems like a guy who might just stick around long enough where the Pirates say like, oh, we could bring him in on a year deal. He's 28 years old. One war guy. He's been there before. Do I want him playing left field for us? No, I don't.
No,
I don't think it's that much better. I know Verdugo has had a decent glove in years past. I think he was positioned well at Yankee Stadium to be successful in the outfield. I don't think it's going to play at PNC Park. I'd rather him be elsewhere. I'd just rather him not be on the team. So I agree, man. I think it's just going to happen through trade.
Yeah, 100%. One team I want to highlight real quick is the Sacramento Athletics, or the Athletics Baseball Club, if you will. They have been continuing to spend and continuing to be active. They acquired Jeffrey Springs from the Rays, a really good left-handed starter, a guy I really like. They got him for Joe Boyle, 2 prospects and a comp draft pick to the Rays. They also acquired Gio Urshela at third base. The Athletics are outspending the Pirates, which is weird. They were like apparently big players with Max Fried, and they've been big players with some other guys like Walker Buehler, but apparently Walker Buehler does not want to play in Sacramento, and I don't blame him. So these are the news, the sources that I read, the rumors that really get me frustrated as a Pirates fan is teams like the Athletics and the Guardians are just like running through circles around the Pirates.
Forgot to mention BDLC got signed as well.
Yeah, Braves. He's going to have a Marcell Ozuna year, isn't he?
He really is. He really is. So it's far and few between when it comes to who the Pirates can sign that are going to make a difference, that are going to move the needle.
Also,
is there anyone?
Real quick,
yeah, go on.
Reds claimed Roansy Contreras off waivers from the Rangers. So the Rangers had just signed him and they put him on waivers. So Roansy Contreras is back in the NL Central. Additionally, I don't think we talked about this either, but the Reds yesterday acquired Jose Trevino from the Yankees. He'll be their backup catcher. They sent Fernando Cruz, a bullpen arm, and Alex Jackson, a backup catcher, to New York. And then lastly, we didn't talk about Emmanuel Valdez, another trade the Pirates made. This seems more of like a depth option, someone that can play in Indianapolis and come up and come down. He had 223 plate appearances in Boston last year. So they acquired him from Boston for right-handed pitcher Joe Vygotsky, who was drafted this past season. I think he was like 18th, 19th round. Valdez / 214, 270, 363 with a 72 WRC plus and 633 OPS. Not going to cut it, folks, but it's a depth option and they need some upper level bats. So he's a 25-year-old left-handed middle infielder, 5'8". Don't see much happening there, but it was a Pirates move, so thought we'd talk about it.
Is there much more to say?
No, there's nothing more to say. I just wanted to mention it.
Okay. just mention it, get it out there. Let's talk unrealistic wish list here. We came up with some names. I stuck on this with like free agency moves, guys that we are absolutely not going to get, but that I think would benefit the Pirates. Ha-Seong Kim has been a big one for me since the start of free agency. He's probably going to get a 3-year contract between 45 to 60. I think that's safe to say. He's coming off a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
I think that's all. I can almost guarantee that that's what the contract's going to be in. It's going to be like 14 and a half to 15 a year.
I also think that's kind of a bargain because I think that's solely based off his shoulder surgery. And I think I would do that if I were the Pirates because one thing I said today in a chat of ours was there's no way they're going to run IKF as everyday shortstop, right? Like we've seen a team try to do that already. Like there is an example out there.
Yeah, there's an example, and I don't want to get sidetracked here, but it's like you said, it's been proven.
Yeah.
And I think they can, or what their thought process is, IKF had a great year with Toronto.
Yep.
Maybe that's a Matt Haig thing. So we know it hasn't worked in the past, but it's definitely going to work for the Pirates because it worked for half a season in Toronto. That has to be their thought process right now. If they're going to justify throwing him out there for an entire season. We saw what IKF became as the season continued to move forward, as the Pirates fell out of contention. It was the same old IKF. He doesn't really provide power. He doesn't provide much speed. He's not going to take a ton of bases. So do you want IKF at the top of your lineup? Do you want him being a premier bat? No.
I'm totally okay with him playing the role of like filling in spaces here and there, but we also have that already in multiple guys. Like we have Jared Triolo, who I think is a better player, or who has maybe not just a better player right now, but has a higher upside, and I think I really want to see him work with Matt Haig, and that's the number one guy I'm going to be watching in spring training this year because I'm a Triolo guy. We all know that, and we have like Billy Cook, Nick York, like these guys. They don't play as many positions as IKF and Triolo, but they still can move around a little bit. So like, how many of those guys can you have on your bench? Like, you need a backup catcher, you need a guy that can just play outfield. Like, I don't know. We'll see, but I like the suggestion of Ha-Seong Kim. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think the Pirates should definitely go in on it, but I don't see it being realistic, like you said.
No, I think it would take 14 to 16 a year.
And they should be able to do that.
Easily. And you get 3 years of them.
Yeah.
And
How
then,
about
if we're going to talk about that real quick, then you could potentially use IKF as a trade piece.
100%.
Because like you mentioned, you have a Triolo that can fill that spot.
Get your bullpen arm that way.
Get your bullpen arm that way. Get maybe another depth piece because you have kind of two of the same, right? And I'd rather have Triolo as a defensive replacement. IKF is a good defender. I mean, obviously, but like, I don't want him being a day-to-day guy, and I don't want just something that's redundant.
I will say, because the remaining left-handed free agents for the bullpen is Tanner Scott, and then it falls off big time. And they're not signing Tanner Scott. We can probably bet on that. But you got Jalen Beeks, not bringing him back. Danny Colombe. Tim Hill is intriguing. Like, he's a really good. He played a big role out of the Yankees pen last year as someone who was really difficult to hit for left-handed hitters. You got Andrew Chafin. You could swayed me that way, I guess. Brooks Raley, Caleb Ferguson was really bad for the Yankees last year. Caleb Tilbar, Scott Alexander, Will Smith. Like, it's not very enticing, just like the remaining free agent market for the outfielders. So maybe you can flip an IKF to the Rays for a left-handed reliever, or I don't know who their left-handed relievers are off the top of my head, but or you could flip them somewhere else. I mean, there are some options out there.
Did you mention AJ Minter?
Oh, AJ Minter. Oh, I didn't mention him. Yeah, he's
AJ
definitely
Minter is something that we've been screaming from the rooftop.
Yeah,
for them to be a perfect fit in this bullpen. Again, probably going to cost too much
for him to come to Pittsburgh.
For him to come to Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? That's my first one. And then we got a little sidetrack there. Ha-Seong Kim to the Pirates.
Let's go
45 to 47 million.
I really like, and we talked about this a lot. You said Ha-Seong Kim. I'm going to go with another Padre. I'm going to go with Jurickson Profar, because Jurickson Profar, I think, is going to command a similar deal, 3 years, 50 maybe, in that range, not too much more than Ha-Seong Kim, if around the same. He's like, what, 32, 33?
Almost 32, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jurickson Profar, but unfortunately, I feel like he probably ends up back in San Diego, and I think the Pirates were going to have to outnumber the Padres just to get him, or out offer, should I say. So he doesn't seem realistic, but it would make a lot of sense given their need for another corner outfielder.
Right. This is his biggest free agency, so he's going to want to capitalize on it, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Would he take maybe a little bit less to be on the Padres? Possibly, but up until this year, his career has been underwhelming. I think that's safe to say for a guy that was a top prospect.
He was the number one prospect in like 2008 or something like that.
And maybe he's a late bloomer. He was like a 4-WAR player this year, but there's a massive chance of regression back to what he was. You'd hope not. And maybe that saves you some money in free agency. Maybe that's like part of the conversations, but I had it like 3 years, 45 to 50 million, just around what you said. I think that gets it done. But yes, the Pirates would have to pay more to convince him to come, which might be a good thing because, again, hasn't been that good throughout his career. Had a really good year last year. Capitalize on maybe the last big free agency that you're going to get in your entire career. Just get as much money as you can, along with playing with Paul Skeens, and the list kind of ends there. Well,
Jared Triolo.
I'm trying to sell Pittsburgh. Yeah. Jared Triolo
doing a great job.
G1 Bay.
There.
Perfect. I had Profar as well as an unrealistic option that I don't think the Pirates will go for.
Do you have any other unrealistic options, or should we go into the realistic?
Let's go into realistic because I don't want to waste
Yeah.
too much time on the impossible. My first
Yeah.
realistic one was something that we mentioned earlier was Jason Hayward on a 1-year, $5 million deal.
Okay.
He hit 211, 10 home runs, 37 RBIs last year with 2 different teams. It's not sexy. It's a veteran. It's someone that can go out there and play. Maybe he still has a little bit left in the tank. I don't think this is a move you make unless you're going into spring training and nobody else is out there.
Yeah.
But can he play right field at PNC Park? Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Are we just doing free agents or are we doing trades too?
I got some trades here as well, man, but that's my realistic free agents.
I mean, I don't really have a realistic free agent for me other than maybe Randall Grichuk, but that doesn't really excite me as much.
Here, why don't I go through my realistic free agents then?
Sure,
just real quick. I got Grichuk on a 1-year, $2 to $3 million, 2.2 WAR player, 291, 348, 528, 12 home runs last year, and then Kike Hernandez at a 1.3 WAR. I don't know how much Kike is going to make in free agency. That really confuses me. I could see the Pirates maybe offering him like a 2-year.
If that's their 2-year deal, man, yeah. I'm hanging up the
does Kike make more than $4 million a year?
He shouldn't, but
he shouldn't. Like, I think 2 years, 8 would be the Pirates offer for a guy like that. He fits the mold.
But you have him already in IKF.
Again, you'd have to trade like an IKF. You get creative, bring in somebody better, and then trade that away. You prefer IKF than Kike?
Yeah, I do.
Ever since Kike got the glasses, man, he's been a lot better.
I know, but like if you look at their like career slash lines, even like the last couple of years, like IKF is definitely a better. Well, I don't know if I want to say definitely a better, but like I prefer his bat to ball skills if he's going to be that type of player.
Okay, that's fair. I think it's realistic, but I don't think the Pirates will pay it. Here's another one. Again, I understand this is pretty much the same guy. If it push comes to shove and they're getting creative, I can see an Adam Frazier reunion for a very minimum deal, just because I've been conditioned to think you need to play every position to be on this team.
Yeah, that gets Ben going.
He could play outfield, he could play third base, he could play second base. I've been pilled by the Pirates just making you play everywhere. It's a sad list. I know that. I know I'm going to get pushed back on it, but that's like the realistic options when it comes to free agency. The trade market could be a lot better, but that's the reality of it. Get used to it.
All right. I mean, hey, I appreciate your list. It's definitely realistic, but is it sexy? No,
it's sad.
I'm gonna give my number one, and I've been all over this guy, and I've been a big fan. Here's my number one trade option for the Pirates to solve their corner outfield problem. It's Mr. Jake McCarthy from Arizona. Jake McCarthy /285, 349, and 400 last year with a 749 OPS. He had 8 homers, 56 RBIs, and 25 stolen bases. This guy plays a really good outfield and can steal bases, and he has a elite bat to ball skills, elite plate discipline. He had a 1.7 WAR, and he didn't play the full season last year. So he might be like a 3 WAR player, and that would be a huge upgrade. And this is a guy who has a 16% K rate. Like, talk about a need in this lineup is someone that just gets on base and is fast, that can move runners, can score a lot of runs. He hits free agency in 2028. He only made $776K last year, and I don't think he's going to make $1 million this year. But
it fits the mold.
It fits. It just makes too much sense. He's 27 years old. It makes too much sense. Like, if you're getting being a guy that hits free agency in 2028 at 27, like, it's a little bit older. Like, he is advanced. He has a lot of experience, but he's also cheap and controllable. It just, to me, this is like a perfect fit. And I don't think it's going to cost a lot to acquire him.
Okay, what would it cost then?
So here, we're toying around with some trade ideas in our chat today, but I think if the Mitch Keller rumors are true, I think you could trade Mitch Keller straight up for McCarthy and a reliever.
We get a reliever.
Yeah. Maybe not because of the years of control, but
On
actually,
our
never
end?
mind. Actually, no, never mind. I think we could. Just depends on which reliever we're talking about, and I have to look at their
Yeah.
roster. But like, I don't think you're going to get an AJ Puck with Jake McCarthy.
That was the first name that came to mind. That might be too much.
Well, okay, so a trade idea that was brought to us today was Geraldo Perdomo, who I like a lot, who's also on my list as a shortstop. Doesn't have a lot of power though, but he gets on base and he has good bat to ball. He's going
Perdomo's
to
a switch hitter, right?
switch hitter, 3 home runs last year, but he slashed 273, 344, 374. 2-WAR player last year. He is going to get pushed out of shortstop by Jordan Lawler eventually. So that makes a lot of sense. But I think if you pair him with a Puck, you could get it done for Mitch Keller. McCarthy, I don't think so. But I'd have to look at their bullpen to maybe pair up another, like a lower end left-handed reliever.
How many years does Perdomo have on his contract?
They're the same. They both hit free agency in 2028.
Those are great options. People are going to be absolutely livid either way. Once they trade Mitch Keller, I like those options. I think those are good options. I think.
But what if you replace Mitch Keller with Mike Burrows?
I have Mike Burrows as a trade piece. Do they go for that? I have it. I have him as a trade.
No. Not to Arizona. I mean, like in the Pittsburgh rotation. Like if you trade Mitch Keller, what if you replace him in Pittsburgh with Mike Burrows?
Oh.
The only problem with that is Mitch Keller was this innings eater, like reliable guy that was going to give you a full season of innings. That's the only thing that's keeping me from saying I'm all in on this.
I'm not saying he's going to be this, but Burrows could potentially be that guy. That might be his career of somebody.
He impressed me in his debut. He really did.
He has really good stuff, man. He's unproven, but he has really good stuff. But I also think you could use him as a trade piece as well if you're not going to move off of Mitch Keller, because he's young and he had a little bit of experience last year. He looked good, and there's still a lot to dream on there.
Yeah.
I have Mike Yastrzemski
Ooh.
as another trade piece.
A
little bit older, but a 2-WAR guy, 18 home runs, can play a solid outfield, a solid right field for us. The bat can sometimes be iffy, but it's streaky. He's very streaky, but 18 home runs, man. That's very good. That's something that this lineup needs.
McCarthy won't give you 18 home runs.
No, he's going to give you much more bat to ball.
10
what
to 12,
you send to the Giants need rotation help. They're willing to spend money, but maybe they want guys that are be there for a little bit longer. Maybe again a Mike Burrows.
I was going to say it won't take Keller.
Yeah, I think a Mike Burrows gets that done. A Burrows for Yastrzemski, and maybe there's some lower level pieces moved. But I think those would be the features in the trade.
I honestly think Burrows would get it done.
I think it's a really good deal. I like Yastrzemski a lot. Again, streaky, but much, much better than what we have right now. A 2-WAR guy, which gets it done for the Pirates, and it adds power.
Yep.
In a short right field, kind of similar to San Francisco.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I like that a lot. I think another outfield option I want to mention real quick is Dalton Varsho, and we've talked about him before on previous podcasts. The Blue Jays seem to be a common trade partner for Ben Cherington. He was there before he came to the Pirates. I swear he trades with like 4 or 5 teams total, regardless. But Dalton Varsho makes a lot of sense. He's 28. His dad, Gary, was an outfielder of the Pirates in 91 and 92. The average wasn't sexy last year. He slashed 214, 293, 407. His OPS was 700 for having that low of a batting average. 18 homers, 10 stolen bases. He's a 5.1 WAR player with that average. 5.1. I mean, he provides value in so many different ways. It's unbelievable. He had 10 stolen bases. He was a former catcher, too. Like, he's just an athlete. He hits free agency in 2027. He's due to make $8 million this year. Will that scare off the Pirates? Probably. But, like, I think this is a guy that you could make a move for, like, another arm like a Burrows, an Ashcraft. It would be, if it was one of those two, it would have to be another lower level prospect too. But I think this is someone that makes a lot of sense for the Pirates.
The Blue Jays need guys with years of control for sure. It's almost the same on their end.
Oh, that graphic you sent us today.
Yeah, almost every single key piece for the Blue Jays hits free agency next year. And mainly Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And if I were them, I'd test out free agency. I would not sign an extension right now unless it's for Vladdy.
Did you see Vladdy's comments? Their extension offer was nowhere near what he was looking for.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna make $400 million plus then.
Yeah,
in free.
Someone's gonna overpay for him. I don't want to say that, but
absolutely, someone's gonna pay a gross amount for, maybe understandably so, a young bat who you could probably lock up for what, 8 to 10 years.
Yeah,
maybe more. I love Varsho. He's a dog in the outfield. Our friend Jim Rosati basically said he's Kevin Pillar that can hit
and play left field. Imagine him in our left field, because like that's like our center field essentially. Imagine him in our left field. I think he'd be a perfect fit. I really do.
Am I thinking Kevin Pillar or Kevin Kiermaier?
Both. They're both.
Really honestly, both. Yeah,
honestly,
both,
like take your pick. Kevin's did.
Right. They're both.
I think he said Pillar, but I could be wrong. But anyways, no, I think
same difference. Yeah, I agree. Varsho makes too much sense, but the money might scare them off.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Any other? I mean, another two outfielders that I had listed were Kjerstad and Wilyer Abreu. We've talked about them before. Anybody else that you had in mind?
No, I just think Kjerstad makes too much sense. I don't want to keep beating that drum every single episode. Maybe I should. That should just be the bit that I have. It's I'll do it again. Years of control. You're not paying him anything. That's awesome. Really, really good potential with a left-handed power bat that could play in a corner outfield position. Awesome. Like that seals the deal.
Way too much sense.
Makes way too much sense. Our podcast in the podcast network for Just Baseball, the Marine Layer podcast, really good Seattle Mariners podcast. They have a bit that Kyle Tucker is going to be a Mariner. They hit it every single day, no matter what. Even though he was traded, they're still keeping the bit going that they even have a better chance now to sign Kyle Tucker next offseason or to get him at the trade deadline this year. I have the same bit now, but with Heston Kjerstad. It's sad. I know. It's not the same. It's not remotely the same, but it just makes too much sense. And I know Ben has the thing where you have to be comfortable saying no. This is a deal that you say yes on. And I wouldn't be mad if they even overpaid a little bit on it. If
I wouldn't be mad
either. Over there, maybe get creative and throw in, get a couple more players back from Baltimore and throw a couple more arms their way. Because we know that they need starting pitching. They need bullpen arms. We have that. We can provide that to them that could help them right now. And Heston Kjerstad could absolutely help us right now. And he's going to be in the opening day lineup if he is a Pirate. Is he going to be in the opening day lineup for the Orioles? No, absolutely not. Move him to the Pirates.
It makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. I would overpay for him too, because it makes, like, if this is a guy that you want to acquire for years of control, like he was number 2 overall pick, he's blocked by a star-studded offense. It just, and they need pitching. It makes way too much sense. Like, it's a marriage made in heaven. I'm all for this. I will say this too, and I want to touch on one bullpen name before we go. Ryan Yarbrough seems like a Pirate.
I like that.
Lefty arm, kind of deceiving. Last year he was 3-1, 288, 25 innings pitched, 36 Ks, 1.1 WAR. Oh, sorry. 5-2, 319. I was reading the wrong line. It was AJ Minter I was reading. 5-2, 319 with 92 and 2/3 innings. He can be the long man. He can pitch in the middle. 65 Ks, 103 whip. He had a 1.2 WAR last year as a reliever. Like, that's really good. I think that's a guy that could replace a Barucki, could replace any of your left-handed arms, who could be your premier left-handed reliever. Yarbrough makes a lot of sense. I don't think you'd have to pay more than $3 million for him.
Yeah, probably 2.
Yeah, 2.5, 3. Like,
that's the deal done.
He's 33 years old. Like I think it makes a lot of sense if you're looking for left-handed relievers. Yeah,
man,
it's Glenn.
I need something to happen. Like,
yeah,
we're always going to have content to talk about. We're always going to dream on different moves and potential free agents and these perfect trades. Heston Kjerstad, give us something, Ben. Give me anything. Like, I'm fiending for any type of Pirates move outside of a minor league contract.
Seriously,
please, for the love of God.
I get the idea of replenishing the upper level bats, but like in the depth, but like, Ben, like, you've got Paul Skeens on your roster. Let's wake the hell up. And
upper level bats don't mean anything if they're not going to play at the upper level, like the highest level. Like, we could put as many mid at like upper level bats in Indianapolis, and they're just going to stay there.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of any of this?
I don't know why I'm here anymore.
All right, Scott, let's get out of here. Good ep. Hopefully by the next time we talk, maybe something happens. Probably something will happen in the league, but I believe we're due to have Noah on again coming up on Sunday after the holidays. If you don't listen to this episode before then, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Go to Bucko Banter, get your last minute gifts. We know that you forgot to get your aunt's, cousins, brothers, sons, annoying little stepkid shirt. Get him a Bucko Banter shirt.
Yeah.
It's easy. 1, 2, 3. Go on the website, click small. It's sent to you. Boom. Holidays are easy. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you leave a 5-star review. Download the episodes. You're doing us a huge favor by doing that. We cannot thank you enough. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, and share it. Spread the word. A lot of exciting news coming. If you haven't listened already, go to the Sax Boy episode 76. One of my favorite episodes that we have done on Bucko Banter. Even we've had some incredible interviews here. Sax Boy interview was great. It got a ton of feedback. And if you thought you knew Sax Boy, you didn't until you listened to that episode. So I beg you, if you missed last week, go back, give it a spin, and look forward to more content coming your way with Mr. Sax Boy.
Yeah, the boys got a lot cooking for 2025. I'm really excited. I'll tell you what, man, that Sax Boy episode was fun. That was the only episode I've not prepared a single note for, because it was just us and Sax Boy, and it was really fun and natural. The listeners can expect us at some point, maybe after Christmas, before the No episode on Sunday, correct?
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, like maybe Thursday or Friday. But like Adam said, I'll reiterate, hope you all have a happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy your time with your families. Listen to Bucko Banter with your families. And, cheers to 2025.
Absolutely. Well said. Till next time, raise it.
Raise it.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Or the steak by the plates and